I made an A-line dress with a pleated sleeve and a detachable collar. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this detachable collar and how I fixed it properly on my outfits. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give my video a thumbs up. It means a whole lot to me. Comment and let me know what you think, okay? This is what it looks like at the back. It has a loop and a button, and let's get started already. So what you need to do is to measure the of your neckline at the front and at the back. So mine is 3.5 inches at the back and 5 inches at the front. So I have indicated the lines like this, as you can see. Then I will mark my 3.5 inches and I will mark the 5 inches right here, okay? So the height of the first collar I'll be making use of is 1 inch. I will not let it exceed 1 inch, okay? So I'll mark 1 inch all the way through the 3.5 inches like this. Then I'll come up from the 5 inches. I'll come up from the 5 inches here by ½ inch, okay? Then I'm going to curve it. I'm going to make a curve on this part right here, okay? Just curve it this way. All right, then I'm going to come up by the height of the first collar here, which is 1 inch. Then I'm going to just raise it up like so, and I'll make that same curve again, okay? Make the curve again like so. So we are done with our first collar. Then on this part right here, I'm just going to come in by quarter inch. This is just to create a space between the zipper and the collar at the back, okay? So I'll just indicate it and I'm just going to shade it out. I'll mark the collar inch up until the upper part right here, so I can get a straight line from the upper part right here while I measure the second collar. I hope you understand. So after marking it now, I'm going to indicate that I'll be cutting it out like so. Then I'll come up from this part here by 4 inches, okay? I'll mark my 4 inches here. Then I'll come from 4 inches here. Then I'll come from this part here, from the upper part here, and measure the same 4 inches, okay? Just mark it right here. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to measure what I have here. I'll make sure that I have a straight line. Then I'll try to make a straight line from this part here up onto this upper part here, okay? I'll get a straight line and I'm just going to connect it just like so. Once I'm done with that, then I'll just come here and I'll connect the lines just like this. Then I'll come down from this part here by 1.5 inches, okay? I'll mark it like that. I'm going to connect it sharply into the other line, just as you can see me doing, okay? So this is just to create the sharpness, okay? Now what I'm going to do now is to come out here by ½ inch to let this part be pointy. So on this part here, if you want it sharper, you can still come down. Instead of measuring 4 inches, you can measure like 6 or 5 inches, okay? If you want it pointier than the one I made. All right, so here I'll come in by ½ inch from the quarter inch line that we came in by before. So I'll mark it like this, inward like this, and at this upper part as well. I'll mark it and I'll connect it straight like this, and I'll just mark it, okay? Then I'll indicate that I will be cutting that part out. So this part is just to give it a space between this big collar here and the 1 inch collar. I hope you understand, just to create a space for my loop, okay? And the button. Now I'm going to cut this part here out, and I'm also going to indicate the part that I'm going to be cutting out, okay? So now we are done with our collar, but I'm still going to be making an alteration around this part here, but I'm going to show you afterwards, okay? So I'll just cut it out like so. Just watch the way I'm cutting it out, okay? Then I'll cut it out like this as well. I hope you can see the way I'm cutting it out. Please do well to give my video a thumbs up if you find this video helpful. It means a whole lot to me, so that the algorithm can push my video to get some more viewers. Okay, and leave a comment and let me know what you think about this video. I'll be glad and I'll be hopeful to hear from you. Alright, so we are done cutting out our collar right here, as you can see. So now I'm going to be making the alteration that I told you about. This is what it's going to look like. So here I'm going to be cutting this part here on fold of 2. Alright, this part is going to be on a fold, and here I'm just going to come in here in the middle by ½ inch. You can also come in by 1 inch. Okay, the more you come in, the more curvy this part will look like. So just make sure that this part here is curvy and not straight. Alright, then I'm just going to, you can measure ½ inch, you can also measure 3/4 on 1 inch. So I made use of ½ inch here. Then I'm just going to be cutting it out like this. Alright, so once I'm done with that, I'm just going to, you can see I've cut it out on my lace fabric that I'm going to be using, and I have ½ inch all around. Then I have about 4 pieces here, 2 pieces for one part. Then I have this part here on fold, and I've used this pattern to cut out the stay. Alright, then I have ½ inch all around. I hope you understand. So I have 2 pieces here on a fold of 2. I hope you understand. I have 2 pieces here. So now we're going to be working. So I'm going to cut out this bias strip of 2.5 inches for my loop. Okay, for my loop. Then I'm just going to cross it over as if I want to make a loop. Alright, then that part that I have, you can come to the left or right side, but I'm making use of the right side anyway. So I will come, we take that part that has circle, put it in between the collar like this, and let it just exceed the stay like this. Okay, so just put it in between and pin it down like so. So we're going to be stitching just at beside that stay. Alright, so you're just going to come out from the stay and end at the end of the fabric like this. Okay, so just place it like this. You can see what I have. So just place it like this and place the collar on each other like so. Please kindly notch the midpoint of the collar. So we're going to be working with this now, and I'll put this part here right side facing each other, and I'm just going to put it on each other like this, and we're going to be making 2 pieces. Alright, so on this part here that has curve area, we are not going to be stitching this part. The only part we're going to be stitching is this part right here. I'm going to stitch it with our ½ inch allowance and here. Okay, leave this part, do not stitch it. We're going to be using it to turn it out by the time we are done stitching. Repeat the same process on this part as well. Okay, now here is what I have after I was done. You can see how it looks. So now we're going to go back to our 1 inch collar now. You can see what it looks like and work on that. Alright, so here now we are going to come to this side here, stitch from this upper part here and stop where the stay stops at the down part. Stop here. Okay, leave about ½ inch at the down part. Okay, repeat the same thing on this side, stitch from the upper part and stop at the stay at the down part. Alright, so once you are done stitching that, you're just going to open it up here. Please remember to notch the midpoint. Alright, so just place one part of this collar like so. Place it, you can see the way I'm placing it. Just raise it up like so and place this part like this. Make sure that you are placing it rightly. Alright, so just place it and make sure that this pointy edge is at the midpoint of the collar, resting on the notch like so. Alright, and you are going to place this part as well on this part here. Make sure that they are just beside each other, like they are kissing each other like this. Alright, and then you're just going to place this part here on it, then you can pin it down. I hope you understand. So just make sure that they are beside each other this way and pin it down like so. Then once you are done pinning, you can pin it out on the side as well, so it will be stable. I'm doing all this for the sake of the beginners that are watching, so that you can take your time and practice it very well. So once you're done, just stitch it all the way down like this with our ½ inch allowance. You're going to be stitching beside, like very close to the stay here. Okay, so once you are done with that, we are going to be turning it out with our, turn out all the edges with your scissors or whatever you want to make use of. All right, so once you are done turning it out like this is what it looks like. Then you are going to iron it. Okay, you're going to give it a proper press. So here's what I have after I was done ironing it, and this is what I have. So you can see what it looks like. We are going to come with your bodies now, notching the midpoint of the front. You're going to place the midpoint of this part that has stay, place it on it like this, and you see this half inch that we left here, it is still here. So we are going to continue from this part here. You're going to stitch with half inch all around, and you're going to continue stitching all the way till you get to the end like so. So by the time you are done, this part here is going to be resting on your zipper allowance. All right, very close to your zipper allowance. So you're going to stitch up all the way to this half inch right here, and you're going to repeat the same thing for this other side here. I hope you understand. So here is what I have after I was done. So by the time you are done, you see that, see how it looks like. You see that this part is a little bit curvy, it's a little bit not relaxing. So you're going to notch it so that it can relax on this part right here. Okay, just notch it so that it can relax on this part. Notch it with about half inch. All right, very little notch around here so that that place can be separate and relax properly. So once you're done notching that part and it is separated, all you need to do is just to push in the rough edges like so, and use the upper part to cover it up. Please make sure you finish this part neatly so that you can have a neat finishing. Okay, so push the rough edges inwards and use the upper allowance here to cover it up, and stitch tiny at the edge of the upper part here. Just push it in. If you have to make use of your scissors, make use of it, and make sure that you have a very neat edge around here. Okay, so just once you are done with this now, you're just going to stitch all the way. By the time you are folding it in, then you continue stitching with just tiny edge on the edge like this. Just stitch tiny on it, and you're going to continue stitching up until you get to the other part here. So once you get to this part here, you are going to just fold in the same thing, just the same way we did at the other part. Just fold it in and make sure that you have a neat finishing at this edge right here, and that will be the end. You can see what we have here, looking so neat and nice. Make sure you give it a good press. So I purposely use this color so that you can see it properly. All right, so here is what I have, and you can see how neat it looks. So by the time you are done, you can just fix your button at the other part. So this is what our collar looks like. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can check my other videos in case you might find something helpful. So this is what it looks like, and it is sitting properly. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you want me to show you the video of how I made the sleeve, you can let me know. Or if you want to see the video of how I made the whole outfit, just let me know in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Bye.